Shalom, I'm Nama Rue. This is my husband, Rabbi David Rue. We are getting ready for the Shmita year, which is very exciting, and especially since it will be my first time in Israel during Shmita. I have a lot to learn, and I like doing a lot of things in the kitchen as well as with my garden. We're so blessed. We were talking about last time discarding peels. What about pulp?
Well, we weren't only discarding peels, we were discussing about all non-primary uses of fruits and vegetables and what you could do on Shmita and what you can't do on Shmita. And this leads to a discussion. The Mishnah said that the only fruits we're allowed to juice on Shmita are grapes and olives, making olive oil and wine, which are considered primary things. So is it possible to make other fruit juices during the Shmita year? Now, Tosfos and the Rosh in Brachos, Daf Mem Aleph, say that fruit juices are Zia Ba'alma, literally sweat, just an excretion of the fruit, and therefore the bracha on them is always שהכל, other than, of course, olive oil and grape juice or wine.
Usually we do ha'etz, right? Or שהכל, yeah.
Most people say שהכל on things like orange juice and so on. The Rashba, on the spot, says that if it's a fruit that we normally squeeze and drink it as a juice in this way, and when people think of this particular fruit, they think of this fruit juice, not so much eating the fruit itself, or maybe at least as much the fruit juice as the fruit itself, then the bracha over this juice is ha'etz. The Shulchan Aruch actually paskins that the bracha is ha'etz, and the Ramah says our minhag is to be machmir and say שהכל. So it would seem at first glance that for those that follow the Ramah and say שהכל on fruit juices, that you would not be able to make fruit juices during the Shmita year. And according to the Mechaber, those that follow him that say ha'etz over orange juice, that you would be able to make orange juice on the Shmita year. The Chazanish, discussing this, Hine נסחטים מתפו וחברותיהם, behold those things that are squeezed from tapuzim, from oranges and their friends, meaning similar juiced fruits. שאם מברכים עליהן ברי עץ וחשיב כפרי. So if you say the bracha of eitz over it, it's considered the primary use of the vegetable. ומיהו לדעת תוספות הראש, משמע דאף רובם סוחטים חשיב זיעה ואם כן אסור לסוחטן. However, Tosfos and the Rosh, who say that it's only a liquid derivative, a sweat of these things, then it would be prohibited to squeeze them on the Shmita year. Min ha'amor nilmad deschitat tapuz hanahug shemarim kol ha'ochel letoch hakos. So if you squeeze the orange and you pour everything, including all the pulp in, venin sharak psolet, and the only thing that's left when you're done is things that you would throw away when you're eating it as an orange anyway. And that's noted sheyesh lo din risuk. It would be a sauce. V'daser amasham to Ikar to birchoso b'rei. And then you would say ha'etz over it. Ulamasa tzarich, and in reality, this requires more in-depth study. The Chazanish in his primary perush is not deciding one way or another. Meaning, in general, we actually don't, when we make orange juice, get 100% of the stuff in, right? There's always stuff that we throw away that if you were eating it as an orange, you would eat. So it never actually happens the way the Chazanish said that. However, in his Kuntras Achron, the Chazanish does seem to allow it, even though in his Perush on Yeridea, he ends with a Lamase Tzarachiyun, that in reality we have to look into this more. The Seitz for Shmita by Rav Tukachinsky says it's prohibited to squeeze all fruit juices other than olives and grapes. And so too, the poskim go both ways on this. The Gaon Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach Zitzal wrote, after his analysis of the whole problem, comparing this, of course, to Truma, where we have much more material available. Lefiza yechlanu al korchenu lomar, da'av shebetruma ekatrei tame le'isur haschita. He says, after we look into this, we can say that there are two rationales for us to say that Truma we're not allowed to squeeze. Chad mipnei shemavsidin. One, because, as Tosfos and Rosh would say, you're losing it. You're only using a sweat of the thing and not the thing itself. And also because we're in this way reducing its sanctity. Velechεν. Therefore, because we have this combination, it's prohibited to make juices out of Truma. Even those fruits that we often or regularly squeeze into juices. Mikol makom. B'shvis lo asar ela mishum tam harishon bilvad. The first, in Shmita, it's only the first reason alone that we're losing some of it. Mutter shapir, and so it should be permitted. Lesxot hatapuz. Therefore, for us to squeeze an orange, the limon ve'eshkoliot, and lemons and grapefruit, shel shvis of shmita, kedei lahanos min hamashkim hiyotzi mehem, to enjoy the juices that come out of it. Vach tzarich lizaher shelo la'abed biyadayim mash nishar imapri. But we have to be very careful that we don't destroy what's left of the fruit inside the klipa, the
skin,
the peel of these things. So,
can I just ask?
Yes.
So, like, let's say I want to. Okay, let's say I'm going to make a sauce with tomatoes, and then I blend it, and I'm using the whole tomato. That's fine. Let's say I want to squeeze some lemon.
You can't even compare it because tomato in general
different.
we do this.
Right, but with lemon, I'm going to squeeze lemon into it. But then maybe I should actually blend the lemon fruit in with it. Is that
well? According to what the Chazon Ish said, you have to make sure to use the whole thing. And according to the Chazon Ish, you can use it if you're going to make sure that there's nothing left. So you've got to get everything out of the peel.
So squeeze lemon into your lemonade, but then use the fruit in your stir fry.
Something.
Or in your roast chicken.
Well, no, he says you've got to be used together. Otherwise, what you've taken out is damaged, according to Tosfos and the Rosh.
Okay, so if I...
So it's not at all simple. According to Shlomo Zalman, it's relatively simple in that I can use it the way, in a normal way, what no one would view as, hey, that's strange. Certainly squeezing some lemon juice, for instance, onto fish or something like that would be permitted. But I just have to be very careful with what I've got left over. So I have to put it with the rest of the peels from Shmita and so on that are going to go bad before I dispose of them, right?
Really, so you can squeeze lemon onto your fish, and then the rest of the lemon, you discard it with the peels that you save until they rot.
So we end up here with three opinions. The most lenient is Rav Shlomo Zalman, and that I can use it in what's the normal ways that these things are used. I just have to be very careful to dispose of what's left with all the other things they dispose of from Shmita. They have Kiddush Shmita. The Chazon Ish says I can only squeeze it if I'm careful to use all of the pulp and so on, so that I have nothing left attached to the peel. And Sefer Shmita says I'm not allowed to do this at all, except for grapes and olives.
Okay, so if we were going to juice carrots, we would probably want to get carrots that were not from Israel, but then we're not getting holy
Yes,
food from Shmita year.
Since it's certainly not, even though carrot juice is made, it's not a common use of carrots. I mean, if you looked at the total percentage of carrots in the world, it would be a very, very small percentage that are juiced, and therefore I don't think it would be, under any opinion, really mutter to juice them from produce of Eretz Yisrael.
So if we're in Israel, let's say someone really uses the beta carotene like medicinally, therapeutically, and they're like, I can't really go for the whole year without my carrot juice. I really need that concentrated beta carotene. They should probably get some imported carrots to use.
Or any of the ways that we've had that would not have חידושי Shmiz attached to the produce. It can be from Heter Mechira, it can be
Raised by
Yevul
Gentiles.
Nochri, non-Jewish things, or it could be imported carrots, or it could be from the very south of Eretz Yisrael, south of Beersheba, where it doesn't have Kedushas, where the land doesn't have the Kedusha because it was not conquered by those that returned from Babylon, only those that came from Egypt. There are various ways in which you can get things that don't have the sanctity of Shmita.
And then if they were going to use that, they would also not have to separate Truma and Maser, or they would?
They wouldn't. In one case or another, it wouldn't either because it's non-Jewish or because it's not from a place that's liable and so on.
Okay. Thank you.